Welcome back to Hardball. President Obama apologized today for that eerie flyover yesterday over Manhattan, where a jetliner, one of the presidential 747s, flew low over New York, the skyline, as I said, accompanied by an F-16 fighter jet. New York officials, including the mayor Bloomberg, went nuts over that and were unaware, by the way, that the flyer was meant for souvenir photos of Air Force One. Here's the president today trying to explain it.
It was a mistake, as was stated. It was something we found out about along with all of you, and it will not happen again.
Tom DeFrank's the Washington bureau chief for the New York Daily News. Tom, of all the klutzy decisions, I mean, I watch those pictures, and I'm not freaked out necessarily. I don't live in Manhattan, but when you see airplanes flying amid the skyscrapers, one memory comes back loud and clear.
Yeah, and it comes back loud and clear for every American, even those who weren't in lower Manhattan on 9/11. It is one of the more boneheaded moves in recent political memory, Chris, and it's just kind of crazy. And nobody asked what were they thinking. I mean, nobody in the military office seemed to have a clue that this might go down poorly. I think the other key to it was the whole notion of demanding secrecy, calling a photo op mission a classified mission, and then pretending that nobody was going to see it was just part of the tin ear to all of this.
Where were the cameras set up? Do we know? I mean, the trouble with this is it suggests that dozens of people had to be involved in planning this, and that not one of them raised their hand and said, this is crazy.
Yeah, I think well, there's going to be a White House investigation to determine whether anybody raised his or her hand and said, is this crazy? This is the kind of thing that's done all the time. I had to smile yesterday, Chris, and I pulled out of my pocket a business card of Air Force One flying over Mount Rushmore. The Air Force One crews have used these sorts of things for years for goodwill things. They'll take a picture of Air Force One flying over Mount Rushmore. The pilot will sign it. They'll distribute it to police departments. They'll distribute it to airports where Air Force One has come in. It's a novelty thing, and they put it on their business cards, one of which I have in my pocket. So that part of it is not strange. What is strange and incomprehensible is, as you say, nobody said, wait a minute, is this the right place to be doing a new picture? We want the Statue of Liberty, not Mount Rushmore. That's okay too, but I mean, nobody, they all were just totally asleep at the switch here, at least in the White House military office. I don't think the West Wing of the White House had any knowledge of this at all.
I'm just laughing, Mr. DeFrank, because I think about all the times the Democrats, especially the Republicans, are looking around in the federal budget for places to save money. How about this as a candidate to save money? Kill the public relations department of Air Force One. Why does an airplane need a PR team to go around and make people like it by giving them souvenir autographed pictures? Well, I mean, what is it? Why do they need why is there a budget for that nonsense?
Well, maybe since I spent a long time in the Army, Chris, I'm not all that exercised about that piece of it, but it is sure dopey. And of course, Air Force One pilots, just like every other pilot, has to fly a certain number of hours a month. So what they usually do is call this, quote, a training mission. This is probably something that may have a little trouble in the next budget go-round. I think you're right about that.
Will there be any sackings of people because of this move?
Chris, I'm betting not. Louis Caldera, who was Bill Clinton's last Secretary of the Army, was the guy who was taking the fall for this. He had a reputation at the Pentagon in those years of being a gracious, personable, very accomplished guy with a political tin ear, and I think he seems to have shown that here. But here's the bottom line. Hispanics are still a little irritated with Barack Obama, Chris, because they don't think there are enough of them around the cabinet or in high levels of this White House. And so to force Louis Caldera to take a hike here, I think would probably cause Obama more trouble with Hispanics. So I would bet after a little more woodshedding, and this better not ever happen again, I suspect that he will survive.
Well, you've looked at this from all the angles. Tom DeFrank of the New York Daily News, bureau chief in Washington. Thank you, sir.